Greetings and welcome, friends. Thank you so much for joining me on my very first live episode of the Homes That Heal podcast. So, today I'm going to walk you through some of the Who's Jen and Where It All Began timeline. But I first just want to say that the conversations that we're going to have here not only are informative and inspiring, but truly life changing. This show has been a dream of mine for many years, and I'm so excited and grateful to finally hit the record button. I can't wait for you to meet my guests, so thanks again for joining me on this epic journey. As I take you with me on a trip down memory lane today, I'll give you a sneak peek into my childhood, my challenges and struggles with weight, a couple specific situations that literally dropped me to my knees, the reason I left my corporate job, opened a wellness center and sauna studio, plus why I created this show. So grab a pen and a cup of coffee. Let's go. Are you struggling with low energy, weight gain, hormonal imbalances, or heavy metal and mold toxicity? Do you want to learn more about anti-aging tips and creating more longevity in your life? Well, you're in the right place. Hi, I'm Jen Heller, a wellness educator, infrared sauna expert, and home health consultant. In this podcast, Homes That Heal, I will teach you how to transform your home into a health and wellness sanctuary. Your health is your wealth, and I believe that your home should be your sanctuary space, loaded with the tools you need to thrive in your life, not just survive. If you want to feel fantastic and transform your life and home, grab a pen, let's dive in and create a home that heals. First and foremost, it's important to know that my mom is and always has been my biggest fan. She supports my every move, even if it keeps her up at night. I honestly wouldn't be the woman I am today without her deep desire to be a mother and love her children unconditionally. She has the biggest heart and is honestly one of the most giving and generous people I know. If she were sitting here with me today and I asked her to describe me, I have no doubt she'd say with a glowing smile that I'm a fearless, free-spirited wild child that has always beat to my own drum. From the minute I could walk, I was chasing adventure. She often reminds me that I jump out of my crib before I could walk, and I was climbing trees when I was 3. I wouldn't say that I misbehaved or was a bad child, but as far back as I can remember, I'd typically be pushing the envelope, and discipline didn't really deter me. I've always had a sassy wild side, blazed my own trail, and I've always had an answer or solution for everything. This unfortunately rattled my dad's cage quite a bit, though, mostly because we share similar characteristics. But as the years rolled on, fortunately, my mom somehow figured out a way to diffuse those situations so I could dream big and carry on with my adventurous soul. I grew up in Rhinelander, a small town in northern Wisconsin, and I feel very blessed to experience a great childhood. We had so much fun, and I have so many grateful memories. We were regular middle class Americans, and if you asked me, we had it all. We lived in a country neighborhood just outside of town where we played outside all day, rode bikes, made forts in the woods, swam in the nearby lake and in my grandparents' pool, and we played kick the can at night. When we weren't in school, we were outside every day, sometimes even in the rain. As active as I was, though, I was always a little chunky, or as my grandma would say, short and stout or stuffy. When I hit high school, I secretly struggled with my weight, but it never really affected my overall fun factor. I had a ton of friends, a good job, my own car, good grades in school, played sports, and I dated boys just like every other teenage girl. In the middle of my senior year, though, I fell fast in love and decided to move out of my parents' house at the age of 18. I saved up some money, enrolled at the local college in pursuit of a business degree, and got an administrative job with Coca-Cola. At the age of 21, I got married, built a beautiful home in the country, and was genuinely eager to get my life started. So fast forward a few years, and I completed my business program, and I was well on my way to an established career at Coke. In general, I would say I was having fun and enjoying life. We worked hard during the week, and we played hard on the weekends. As time went on, though, I started to feel a shift in my 20s. I packed on quite a few pounds. I was tired all the time, lethargic, and really struggling some days. In addition, my short term memory just felt off. I was irritable, plus, I was having a hard time sleeping. I remember having to take sleep aids to fall asleep most nights, and that really bothered me. My husband's job took him on the road a lot too, so I was often home alone for days on end, and sometimes weeks. When I think back to those times, I remember feeling a bit lost and really disconnected. My life looked really good on paper, so I didn't know why I felt so lost and empty, and I just couldn't figure it out, honestly, and I didn't know who to ask. I decided that most of my frustrations were around the extra weight I was carrying. The fact of the matter was, I was significantly overweight and not at all comfortable in my own skin. I just hid it really well. Shopping for clothes was stressful and dreadful, and let's not even talk about swimsuit season. For the next few years, I unfortunately went down this really dark path of exhausting every weight loss plan under the sun, buying healthy cookbooks, a treadmill. Plus, I could have filled 10 weight loss drug punch cards if Walgreens offered them. I tried everything, but nothing budged. I lost 10 pounds and I'd gain 10 pounds. I'd lose 10 pounds and gain 10 pounds. I'd eat well for a few weeks, and then fall off the wagon, say screw it, and binge eat and drink for days. It was so exhausting. I felt like I was on a hamster wheel. It literally makes my heart hurt thinking about it to this day. Looking back, I was so hard on myself. It's really not a mystery why my body was not interested in cooperating. I was so far out of alignment, I couldn't even think straight. So, this next chapter of the story is not only important, it's pivotal. One that completely changed the trajectory of my life and one that I'll never forget. One of my girlfriends was in town visiting from Michigan, and we decided to go out downtown for a few drinks. We were sitting at the bar off to the side a bit when I noticed a really intoxicated guy leaning over, trying to get the bartender's attention for another drink. It was Friday night, the music was cranking, and the place was packed. It was hard to hear the person next to you, let alone get the bartender's attention. You had to just sit and wait and be patient. Everyone knows on nights like this, you just wait patiently for the bartender to come to you. A minute or so went by, and suddenly the guy decided to pick up an empty glass and was about to throw it at the back of the head of the bartender, who happened to be a good friend of mine. So instinctively, I just launched off my bar stool, stood up waving my hands at him and yelling as loud as I could, "Stop!" Fortunately, he saw me, and since he was loaded, his coordination was like a snail in slow motion. But he lowered his arm and just glared at me in total disgust. If his eyes were laser beams, he would have fried me on the spot. He had so much fire in his eyes, I can see it right now. He set the glass down and slowly decided to walk over in our direction. As he approached, I stood up, stared back at him, but didn't say a word. We just locked eyes. He stepped really close, got about a foot from my face, then proceeded to call me every offensive name you could think of, which honestly wouldn't typically faze me. I grew up with boys and work with truck drivers. I have very thick skin and I'm not easy offended. This guy, this guy though decided to keep using the word fat in front of every name he called me over and over and over. He got so close to me at one point, I thought he was going to physically push or hit me. He was so mad. I wasn't sure what was going to happen, but I just held my ground. I just stood there and thought, well, this isn't going to go well for him. This bar is loaded with my friends and locals, and I have no idea who this guy is. The bar owner, Mike, intervened quickly, grabbed him and threw him out, and asked if I was okay. I said yes, and I asked him who the guy was. Interestingly, no one knew who he was or had ever seen him before. It was just like he blew in, stirred up a scene, and then blew out. After a minute or so, the situation diffused and everyone just carried on as usual. But I didn't. Something was stirring in me I never ever felt before. It's hard to describe and hard to put into words, actually, but I remember feeling like this electric current was flowing through me. I was trembling inside and could hardly control it. I casually told my girlfriend I was going to go to the bathroom and just hopped off my bar stool and started walking. I needed to move my body. It was literally vibrating, and I felt like a ticking time bomb. As soon as I got to the bathroom, I locked the stall door, put my back against the wall, and collapsed to the ground and immediately burst into tears. My body shook uncontrollably as I cried my face off into the sleeve of my sweatshirt. I wasn't just crying, I was sobbing, sobbing like I'd never sobbed before. This was crazy to me. A stranger's words and disgust for me unearthed something energetic and deep within my soul, and it just poured out like a freight train. Fortunately, no one else was in the bathroom at the time, so I just let it flow. I let my body be heavy, shake and release whatever it needed to, and I totally surrendered. Some time went by, and the tears finally subsided. I regained my breath and composure, sat on that floor, and recognized the enormous level of embarrassment that I felt. I've never felt or experienced anything like it before. And I asked myself, why? Why and how did this affect me so deeply? The answer came to me crystal clear. I knew I was overweight. I knew I saw myself as fat, but none of my friends or family ever made fun of me or called me fat before, let alone embarrassed me in public. My inner circle didn't label me fat, yet some stranger walks in and within minutes tears me to shreds with his words. I remember thinking, if this is how the world truly sees me, I need to make some changes. I cannot go through life with this kind of shame. I made a decision and promised to myself on that bathroom floor I was going to get my life and my health in order. So I got up, walked to the mirror, wiped the mascara off my face, and looked myself deep in the eyes and said, "No more shame. It's time." I knew in my gut what I needed to do. I walked back out into the bar as if nothing happened. My girlfriend asked if I was okay, and I said, "Yep," and ordered my drink of choice, Jack Straight on the rocks. We carried on for the rest of the evening as usual, but I went to bed that night and woke up the next day a totally different woman. A motivational fire was stirring inside of me. I knew what I needed to do and had a game plan to completely change my life. And that's exactly what I did. Thanks so much for tuning in and listening to episode 1 of my 2-part series. Be sure to tune into episode 4, where I share how I discovered I was loaded with heavy metals, used an infrared sauna to detox my body, shed 125 pounds. Yes, you heard that right, literally half my body weight, regained my memory and brain function, plus repaired my thyroid naturally. I'll also share with you what motivated me to quit my corporate job, let go of toxic relationships, leave behind my hometown to start a health coaching and sauna consulting company, plus how I met the love of my life and completely transformed our home into a wellness sanctuary. There's a lot to unpack in part 2, and you don't want to miss it. Thanks again for tuning in. I look forward to chatting with you again soon. Thanks so much for listening. I appreciate you. If you love this episode, please leave a rating and review on Apple and Spotify. This helps me expand my reach to other health and wellness enthusiasts. If you're interested in purchasing a Clearlight sauna, have a topic request, or just want to connect with me, please head over to my site, jenhellerlifestyle.com.